Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're going to be diving headfirst into some new maps that have been added, and also dive headfirst into some Ender.io. So, I hope you guys are ready. So guys, update time is here, and in this pack update, I kind of want to go over a little bit that is going on. So, we now have some new worlds that have been integrated, been added to the pack, and I really wanted to cover these at the beginning because I knew that these were going to change, and I knew eventually I was going to have to cover them. Luckily, I wasn't too far into the Let's Play to be able to show them to you. So, let's take a look at the island starts that have been added up to this point. And I want to keep in mind that eventually I want to have this current state that we are at on my current build right here. I want this to be a starting island. So, I'm in the works of that. I might actually do that during my live stream, so if you haven't followed me on twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect, we are probably going to be doing that at the moment this video is going live. So be sure to check me out over there if you haven't followed already. I highly recommend doing so because we are going to be doing some crazy testing of this pack over there at the time of this upload. So anyways, let's get on and see the new maps. So just looking at the new Create a World section here, on the main page, you can get create from template. You see we have the Boreal, Boreal, I think it's what it's called, Forest, the Heaven Release, Jungle, and like I said, these may still not be permanent. These may not be exactly how it's set up. As you can see, it says by test. Technically, it should say by max over here. So things like that are going to change. And the descriptions are probably going to be set and things like that. But as of right now, this is kind of just a work in progress. So this will be done before release. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these different worlds and see what we might be expecting during the release. So right here we have the Boreal. Now this one looks nice and overgrown, has a nice little peak to the bottom, and this one's going to be kind of an interesting island to start on. But there are a few of these islands that kind of look very similar to this one, and we're going to go to the next one now. This one is the forest starting area, and as you can see, it kind of swirls down. Like I said, it's very similar to the other one, but you have a different wood type. This one is, of course, oak, which totally makes sense because what fills a forest? Well, mostly oak. And you have a few other starting things, but most of all, it's just kind of a nicer starting island. So for this one, we have the jungle. And as you can see, we have, of course, jungle wood. We have a few things to start with, but one of my favorite features of this is the fact that it kind of swirls down to the bottom. I really do like that. The other ones kind of do, but this one does it way better. Then, of course, we have the lovely Heaven map, which is absolutely stunning. And when you take a look at the center, there is even a hole down here for, I guess, your eventual portal out of here, which is really, really cool. So these next few maps are by Nexandria, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. Actually, user submitted, and as you can see, part of testing this pack, and have actually added their own maps, and there's actually several of them. The next ones that you're going to see are all by that person. So, pretty cool. Like I said, we're going to be making our own, hopefully on the live stream, and making a few. I'm going to take some suggestions from you guys. Let's take a look at the rest of them by Nexandria. This one you may not see much, but this is actually considered one of the harder starting maps. You actually spawn right on top of the tree, and as you can see, you don't have much to access anything. So yes, this is one of the harder starts. Here we have a hell biome type starting map, which I think is kind of interesting. And yeah, this one would be kind of a cool way to start, considering I don't think many people would actually go with this one. If anybody here is interested in starting with a pyramid, this will be the perfect map for you. And this is a wonderful kind of start. It would be kind of interesting to see what it would look like to start here, considering the given resources that are provided, but it would be fun. Here we have your old-fashioned startup skyblock. Yes, kind of the same. There are some changes, and I actually haven't broken this one apart, and I wonder if there's lava underneath any of this, but it is your typical nice little skyblock if you wanted to start here. Next, we have another harder start to the world. This one is called Small Islands and is considered one of the harder ones. And guys, this is just a giant cube. No, I'm just joking. This is actually probably going to be a crowd favorite because, as you can see here, yes, it is kind of like Stoneblock. And that's what it's called, Stoneblock. And last but not certainly least, we have the Volcano Island, which actually looks kind of cool. and would be kind of fun to start on, actually. Having that massive, menacing volcano in the background. I really like how this was set up. So I hope you guys enjoyed the run through of all the new changes to the starting game. Of course, I'm going to be covering those more in the live stream. And like I said, be creating them. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions, or you guys can let me know which one you actually liked the best out of that list, let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys have any suggestions for islands that you would like to see, you can also comment down below as well. And I'll definitely be taking a look at those before the live stream and kind of bringing those into fruition. So I hope to see those there. But anyways, now that we are here, let's take a look. And we have 167 trillion EMC. Not billion, not million, trillion. So yeah, what to do with this EMC? Well, I think what we should do is finish out the Project EX flower bonsai pots. I think we're getting pretty close to finishing those out. We have white matter, so what we need to do is take this white matter and upgrade this one to the next tier, which is kind of an interesting tier. Fading matter. Look at this. This requires 261 billion. That G stands for gigabit, I do believe, but also stands for billion. It's the symbol for billion. If you didn't know that, now you do. So, fading matter, we can save that. And of course, we need 2 of those because we need to take our latest versions, which I do believe is the white right here. And of course, take those back up through the tiers and we get ourselves fading versions. And then we're going to need a bunch of those and 6 of the fading. Then we're going to take our... Where is it at? Where is our ME? I guess we can just look it up. We'll just take some of our... Actually, it's not ME. It's EMC. There we go. Personal EMC link. And yeah, we need to go ahead and make a couple of these fading matters. I'll go ahead and save that, just so we have it. And then we'll bring 2 of those. Bam, and then we can combine this together. So this will get us pretty close to the top tier. Not exactly, but we are at Bonsai Pot MK15 producing 19.45 billion EMC every 20 ticks. That's insane. That's a lot. But we have a lot of EMC, so I think we could probably push this even further. And let's take a look at the actual mod itself. So, Project EX, right here, and we should have the final collector, which comes after the MK15. So the final collector is what we probably want to make, and this is going to require final collectors. Of course, I'm looking at the shiny ones. So yeah, we have the final collector here. The final collector is going to require a piece called a final star shard. The final star shard is just going to be a nether star surrounded by colossal star omegas. So we need to go through the process of making these omega stars, which actually is not that hard, considering they're Klein stars. So it's just an upgrade. What we need to do is make a Klein star, and then it's just a repeatable process over and over again. And I'll show you the beginning of that. I'm not gonna do the whole craft with you here, because that would be just a waste of your time. But making it, of course, it doesn't bother me too much to make these. So we need some Mobius fuel. That's what we're gonna need, and a diamond. I can at least make this, right? So we need a Mobius fuel, and there it is, and a diamond. And once we make one of these, then it's just EMC from there, basically. It's pretty simple. Make a Klein, that's your first one, and you're going to need 4 of these, right? To make the next upgrade version. And yeah, it's just a matter of crafting them. Honestly, having them in your inventory would be easier to craft, just so you can see them. So you get 4 more, and unfortunately you can't shift, but you can actually craft them inside your normal crafting grid. You can't shift click them in there, but you can keep upgrading them, and you have to basically keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading until we get to close to the final one. And then we actually start making this. So once you make the normal base Project E one, you're going to start upgrading into the Project E versions. So that's what I'm going to work to. And then we're going to finally get to the Colossal Star Sphere, and that's what we need to make the Colossal Star Omega. And then from there, we're going to utilize that to get the final star shard. So this requires way more EMC than we actually have. That is 3.38p. Yes, P. This one colossal star omega is 422.21 trillion EMC. So like I said, I'm just going to get to the point to where I can make one of those or get close to making it. Yeah, because it's going to get ridiculous. So until then, I'm going to take all of these fading matter. I can make 17 of them. And we're just going to set up a nice little area for these guys to just start just generating as much EMC as possible. Because that's when I said those numbers, they may seem really high, but in reality, they're not. The trillion is just not. This is producing 330 billion every second. So with the amount that we have. But that's just pushing the trillion very slowly, it seems. Especially with the amount that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and get those done, and I'll be back. So I got pretty far. As you can see, I can now make the colossal star, which kind of puts us towards the last one that we need to make right here. So we get the colossal star sphere. This requires 105, trillion. So this is it's a big star here. And you can see this one is actually used to make the colossal omega. I only have enough EMC at this point to make 2 of them. That's it. So my EMC is building up, believe me. I am producing at this point, let's see, 778 billion every 20 ticks. So every second. Kind of a crazy amount, but it is going to add up. It's kind of weird. The final star actually requires more EMC than it produces. Unlike all the other ones, so it's kind of a hefty one. Also, we have some quests that I might actually want to go ahead and claim, so that we've unlocked. You can also click this button over here to claim all the rewards that have been currently unlocked that you can get, but there was some rewards that somebody was mentioning. They were mentioning that you can actually click it. They don't think it's random. I don't have any of those unlocked, but so I'm going to go ahead and click all of these, which is going to just give me a bunch of Beast Coin, basically. So our Beast Coin amount, actually, I haven't checked it in a little bit, but you can hover over this and it'll show you. So we have 158, which is kind of interesting because at that point, we can buy a creative item. We can buy like a creative controller, creative destruction wand, a creative generator from Industrial Craft, creative grids, an everlasting pull if I wanted to. All of those things are really, really nice. Nothing that I'm that interested in. I really want that Watch of Flowing Time. That would be really nice and helpful. Because I wonder, I almost think it'll help generate even more EMC, because these should run faster with that going, which would be insane. So, Ender.io is something that we really need to get into, and you may wonder why. Well, that's because the Experience Obelisk is something that I really want to get. All of these things are pretty simple. We have Grains of Infinity, we have Iron. It's just as simple as that. So Iron bars, Grains of Infinity. We're going to need all that stuff to kind of get started. Looks like stone gears, really. Furnaces, pistons, I know are involved. Trying to think of all the things. Flint is definitely involved. I'm going to say redstone. I'm not exactly sure on that one. But stone gears are definitely something, which I believe is just cobblestone in a stone-like pattern. I was wrong. It is probably the old-fashioned stick gear recipe, right? Stone gear. Yeah, it requires the wooden gear. Alright, so sticks. Sticks is what we're going to make. Not the band, the actual items here. Let's go ahead and make that. Wooden gear. And we can go ahead and make this. I don't think anything uses the wooden gear. And let's build crafts in here. There we go. So we need some of those gears. And then the frames are something that we're going to end up making. Oh, bucket. Yeah, we'll just grab a couple buckets. All right, so crafting this. This is the simple powered furnace, which we don't really need. We need the alloy smelter. So let's make the simple frames. which will allow us to pull some of those out. The simple alloy smelter is going to require everything that we currently have, which is awesome. And the simple sag mill is something else that we are going to need. And I have all the stuff for that as well. Perfect. So these two things are definitely a must-have. Let's go ahead and head on over here. And we're going to place them in one of our industrial areas that I have set up. So we put our sag mill here. We can put this guy here. And of course, we can get a point and power them both. And this uses hardly any power. You can see right here, it is going to consume, 15 a tick. And it is going to output, it's going to lose a little bit of energy every now and then. The loss rate is very slow. But we need to use this to generate a few things. Let's go ahead and start upgrading into this. We need dark steel. That's one of the things we definitely need. And if I remember the recipe for dark steel, it is, of course, iron, obsidian, right? Definitely obsidian. And we're also going to need, pulverized coal? Which I don't think we have. So let's go ahead and pulverize that. Pulverized coal. Pretty easy. I was wondering, is the acceleration, how expensive is that? Oh man, it is so expensive. And we can't make it either. It's like one of those items you have to buy, I believe. Yeah, you have to buy it. And it's pretty expensive. I would love to have the acceleration wand. I would love to have a lot of stuff. But like I said, we have to get the beast coin for that. So which means we need to complete some quests. Pulverized coal. Perfect. I can make some of that. Alright, so in here, iron in that, and that should start up that process. It's going to be pretty slow at first, but like I said, we need to get some other things done. So, grass is something we're going to need. I wonder if double tall grass works in here. It does! So double tall grass is going to get us twigs and clippings and trimmings. And the clippings and trimmings are what we need. I think we need 12 of them. Yeah, 12 and a slime. And then we get this organic dye. So yeah, we're gonna need a little bit of that. It's gonna take a little bit of time. This is just like the simple progress that it takes. And I'm gonna wait for this to get done. It is almost done. Once we get one, we can EMC that material. So it's not a big deal. But like I said, I really need to get into Ender.io because it does have the experience obelisk, which is by far, one of the best ways to generate, store experience. And we can actually just utilize our mob farms experience, and it'll basically have an infinite storage capacity because it stores your experience just like as if you were the person collecting the experience, which I absolutely love. And it gives you a pretty accurate number as to how much experience you have. So this should be getting pretty close. There it is. And like I said, we need that slime. We'll go ahead and take that out. Throw this in together. This is still processing the last set. I probably should just break. Actually, it doesn't work that way because it is going to continue. It doesn't. Oh, man. It's going to be making another set of dark steel, but we honestly don't need it to because we can learn dark steel. But there are some crafting recipes that we need to learn. And let's just take a look at those. Ender.io has a few gears that we need to learn, and one is the dark bimetal gear right here, which requires the dark metal gear, and we need iron nuggets for that. So, iron nuggets, we're going to get the regular infinity gear right here, save that to our EMC, grab some of them, right, and allow us to craft some more. We'll take that dark steel and convert it down and make ourselves a dark bimetal gear. Nice. And those are going to be used for upgrading our machines. Very, very nice. Alright, let's get a little bit of this cleaned up. We don't need all of this junk laying in here. There we go. Awesome. So this is good. The twigs and pruning here, this right here, we need 12 of those. The best way to obtain those is actually not through this process. It's actually through, I think it's called a bush. Yeah, it's called a bush. So a dead bush. This is actually the best material to use to actually get these twigs and prunings. It definitely is. It's by far I mean, you're pretty much almost guaranteed them. If you take a look, you see here, that's all it outputs. So it's a 60% and a 30%, which is kind of weird, modified by a grinding ball. We don't have a grinding ball yet, but once we upgrade this, we definitely will have access to that. So there's our die. And we can collect some of this because we have really nowhere else to store it except for in our bag here. And yeah, there's our twigs. That should be enough to actually unlock our next stage. So we have a couple more things we need to do. We have the green dye, and then we actually need the coal powder. Right here. We need to mix the coal powder because this gives us the brown. We need to take that and the coal, and that is going to get us the black dye. Those are the 3 dyes that are required in order to progress into the next stage. There we go. Of Ender.io. Lovely. All right, so to get to that point, it shouldn't take too long. Like I said, I've done this so many times now. It's pretty easy. We need crushed nether quartz, and that should be pretty easy. So we'll take some quartz. Something we don't really have, or nothing that's been actually pulverized yet. Let that pulverize, because this is just about as fast as any of our other machines. And that will get us 1. We are going to... Oh, that's not EMC-able, unfortunately. Bummer. But that is going to work. None of this Ender.io stuff, for the most part, has EMC. It's very similar to many of the other mod packs that I've played that didn't have EMC for a lot of the items. And that's perfectly fine. I have no issue with that, because all the stuff required you can get pretty easy. The last thing we need, lapis. And guys, I'm not joking. This is super, super easy. And honestly, you get 6 of these industrial dyes, which allows you to make 6 industrial machine chassis. That is more than enough machine chassis. I don't think I've ever used more than 6 machine chassis. And making the industrial dye, you can make more of it pretty quick. So, there's everything we need. We should be able to now craft this industrial dye blend. There we go. And we're going to take these machine chassis right here, and we're going to combine them in the alloy smelter, nonetheless. And this is going to produce exactly what we need. It's going to be very, very, very awesome. All right, so I'm going to store some of these Ender.io mechanics in here until I can sort them later. But there's our first industrial machine chassis, and I don't think this has an EMC. So yeah, you can see it doesn't have EMC, but that's perfect. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it's going to take to upgrade our other 2 machines. So, alloy smelter, it just is going to take 2 simple powered furnaces if you wanted to make those, or you can just, upgrade it and get an alloy smelter right away. I think we have everything to make that minus a cauldron. We should be able to make a cauldron real quick, though. EMC that. And last but not least, make ourselves an upgraded alloy smelter. Perfect. So we can break you and get our lovely alloy smelter in here. Perfect. Now, this is not connected, but it should connect. We just haven't... I think me updating the block kind of breaks the fact that it's not connected. There it goes. Now it's connected. You can see there. And upgrading the sag mill is going to be pretty much the same process. Sag mill. Looks like we need flint in the pistons. I knew I shouldn't have gotten rid of those. So pistons and flint. And there we go. Sag mill. All right, so which means we can kind of get rid of this guy, and we've pretty much gotten ourselves into Ender.io. This is the early parts. Now, there are a few other things that we will need to work on with Ender.io, and that is getting into the Solarium stuff, the dark side of Ender.io, which requires soul-attuned dye blend. And this stuff is just going to require you to make Solarium and grind it up, still using that black dye, quartz, and organic brown dye, which comes from those twigs and prunings, which is why we made that. So we'll save that for later. I'm sure we'll get into that in a future episode. But for right now, we have a lot of stuff that can just be, tossed inside here and EMC'd. Look at that. Perfect. Except for our industrial machine chassis. Those can't be EMC'd. So we're looking pretty good. One thing that I really want to get into now is, like I said, that experience obelisk. And that's going to push us into that stage that I was talking about, making solarium. So, soul sand and gold produce solarium inside of an alloy smelter. We are going to need some capacitors, which in this pack is pretty easy to obtain. There's our capacitors. So we need grains of infinity, copper, and gold nuggets. Grains of infinity, copper, pretty simple, and gold, right? Which we already have some gold. I'm just going to make some gold nuggets. And then we can make some basic capacitors. So we take those basic capacitors, we're going to store them, we're going to put them in here temporarily. That's going to allow some power to build up. And then we're going to look into making double capacitors, which require energetic alloy ingots. Now, energetic alloy is not that hard. It is redstone, glowstone, and gold. It's just super simple. I've been doing this for so long that all these recipes are just ingrained in my head. And grain infinity. That was not intended. But I've been doing this for so long that these recipes are just like snap, man. I know in my Ender.io stuff, it's just been around for so long. So there's that, and we can kind of go ahead and get that going. And this will allow us to upgrade these things pretty quick. So we also need that coal, pulverized coal. Bam, pulverized coal. Actually, while we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and get an ender pearl. And we can take that and iron and start making some of the other alloys. So an ender pearl in this right here will get us an upgrade. And then an ender pearl with this will get us the highest tier. So we're going to make some upgraded parts, which means we need some basic capacitors like this, 2 energetics, and last but not least, which I didn't pull out yet, coal. Pulverized coal, to be exact. So basic capacitor, basic double layer, there we go. We'll save that. I hope I'm not going too fast. There we go. And then we can actually upgrade these by just right-clicking in them. It's going to pull the old one out, and these are going to upgrade and go a little bit faster now. Perfect. So there we go. And we got some pulsating iron. Pulsating iron has its uses, that's for sure. There are some really cool things that you can do with pulsating iron. But right now, I'm more focused on taking that energetic alloy and upgrading that into the next tier, which is pretty fast once you have the upgrades in here. And then we have Vibrant, and Vibrant is the top tier alloy that goes in here, which means we can now take this and some glowstone, make a glowstone block, and this is going to take those double layer capacitors and make an octadic capacitor. And then octadic capacitors can then be upgraded into these machines. All of this can then be thrown in here. There we go. And things are going to go a lot faster. So remember, we need to make solarium. So this is going to go a lot faster now that we have those upgrades. And there's our solarium ingot. Of course, I'm going to take that solarium. We're going to grind down some of them until we get some of that soul powder. This is not EMC-able. So there's that. And we're going to take out that organic brown dye, black dye, and we're also going to need some more nether quartz. Just a couple. And this will go pretty fast as well, right? All right, so now that we have that, we should be able to get into that sort of dark side that I was talking about, and we'll get 6 attuned dye blends. And these dye blends then go with a simple machine. Let's do simple. And what we'll do is we'll just throw that in there, and those are going to create a soul machine chassis. All of that for just one thing that we need. But like I said, this is like a needed item that we need. The experience obelisk is definitely one of those things. So a fluid tank is actually very easy to make in Ender.io. Iron, very simple. Glass and iron bars is all you need for this. You can make yourself a fluid tank just like that. And it actually holds 16 buckets, I believe, by default. And then the upgraded one holds 32 and is pressurized. And you can actually use these to automate. Like each side can push and pull fluids, which is a good way to automate things. All right. So now that we're back into this, and I feel like I'm rushing, but that's because the intro of the video was kind of a little bit longer. We should be able to, at this point, make that obelisk. And I'm doing this all without, I'm doing it pretty much all without an applied energistics system, which really I need this to get into applied energistics, and I'll explain to that why here in a minute. So we'll need some of this, and it should be solarium in that, with that, giving us an experience rod. And last but not least, we should be able to make an experience obelisk. Just like that. And we should be able to store that. Nope, I guess we can't. So, good. It's not EMC-able, but we don't really need it to be. We should be able to come right into here. And the problem I was having is when I break this block, it just completely gets, moved. But this should automatically start storing levels for us. And all we got to do is right-click on it, and we can pull them out, store them. I click store, it's going to store all of my experience. If I want to pull it all out, retrieve all the experience, now I have it all. Just like that. I love that. So, when I was talking about applied energistics, right? That was something that I was definitely talking about. We need a pulverizer for that. Let's go applied energistics, and that's why I want to work on this next episode, getting into applied energistics a little bit, is because we need these presses that are used in the inscribers. And one of the presses, which is the engineering press, requires silicon. Or silicon. I don't know why I say silicon. It's two different things. Silicon, right here. But it says it from Ender.io. Now, that's an issue because you would think that it is actually substitutable for item silicon. But it doesn't seem to. And JEI normally does a good job at showing you that it is that way. But from what it looks like, it's not. So I don't know if that's something that needs to be fixed or it's intended. But all of this requires Ender.io to be able to make this. So you need to have at least got into Ender.io because that's the specific type of silicon or silicon that it requires. So if you look at silicon, you can see that the other ones we have are applied energistics. But if you look at applied energistics, the uses for them are not the same. So that's where we run into that issue. But Ender.io is going to be very nice because we should be able to make that version. There's also one for refined storage, which is very specific as well. But like I said, it's going to be needed, right? So here are our few different ones. And like I said, Ender.io is going to be sand. And it's a 50% chance out of sand. So you're best having a grinding ball or something in there. I don't know if it's going to help that much, but let's take a look at, let's see. I guess we can take a look at Ender.io, find out what the best one is. I think Vibrant is probably the best grinding ball that you can make. To make a grinding ball is literally just like this. And you throw that in here, and we can throw some sand. And that is going to grind it down and hopefully get some of that silicon, like that. There we go. So this gives you a main output of 175, then 135 for a bonus output. There are some things that can actually give you, like bonus materials. So it's a good way to like triple your ore output if you wanted to. So there we go. Looking pretty good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And as always, thanks for watching.